Tyrann Mathieu signed today with the New Orleans Saints. It's the part of the offseason where teams can sign players and it won't count against the comp pick formula. I don't know what the comp pick formula is. Anyway, the Niners might be back in the market if they can get some cap space. Mathieu, gone. What does this say about the 49ers' vision for their safety spot this year?
I think their vision was made quite clear. I never thought they would be in the Tyrann Mathieu market. Tyrann Mathieu, for the way they play defense and what Tyrann Mathieu really does, and has been doing for the Chiefs the last few years. I've explained it a couple times. I think on this stream and on Twitter Spaces, it wasn't really a good match. It's not the kind of player the Niners look for in their safeties because they don't really feature their safeties on defense.
Yeah.
Well, now that ship has sailed. Tyrann Mathieu got a pretty hefty offer from the Saints. The Niners have zero money to play with at the moment. They don't really have anything. They have zilch nada. Everyone says that, if they cut Garoppolo, money will be opened up. I seem to get the feeling that Garoppolo is not getting cut. I don't get that feeling. Do you?
They've said it a million times. You don't just get rid of a guy like Garoppolo. They might try to reduce his salary, but they're not. He's not getting cut. But
I think if they do end up trading, and if they do end up trading him, I do think they might have to foot some of the bill. As John Lynch said, they could foot that bill, and if you're not getting the full $25 million, it's a really, really tough situation for them. And so what the Saints signing Tyrann Mathieu means, I don't think it changes anything. I think we all looked at the contract they gave George Odom. That's not a contract you give a special teams player. They gave him basically incentives to be a starter. They clearly like Hufanga.
It's like they told him, like, hey, you can compete with this. You can compete for this job if you come here.
The NFL has always been simple, right?
Yeah.
You just go and find where the money is usually where teams are going to, wherever they're invested in, that's who's going to be able to play because they want the guys they paid a lot of money to play. So I think George Odom is going to get a great shot. I think that's part of the reason they were able to convince him to come here, right? They wanted to give him a shot to play safety. He was okay when he played for the Colts. I wouldn't say that there was anything. He was just
he can tackle, right? He can tackle.
Right, he can tackle. He's not bad in coverage. He's got decent movement. I think Jaquiski Tartt is a better safety than him, but the Niners might look at it as Odom's younger, more durable, better special teamer. The overall value might be a little better that way. And then I think Hufanga is probably going to compete for that starting safety role. Or worst case, they're going to probably have him retain that kind of third safety role that they had him playing last year. I think this has always been their plan. Now, I don't know if it's the right one. They've had some interesting plans at safety at different times in this regime. I mean, really, as much crap as Jaquiski Tartt and Jimmy Ward get, the only time the Niners have been stable under this regime in the safety position is when those two guys are on the field, right? Like Tarvarius Moore and Jaquiski Tartt started in the beginning of 2019, and Tarvarius Moore gave up a couple big plays, and Jimmy Ward
did the Niners lose to Colt McCoy?
Because Tavon Wilson and Hufanga played at safety, right?
Yep.
That was really, really tough. There were a few plays. I mean, you go back, it's really, really
Christian
tough.
Kirk got the long one, right?
Yeah. Christian Kirk got the long one. Then there was one.
Hufanga got Christian Kirk.
The James Conner touchdown. Hufanga. I mean, that's a tackle you got to be able to make. But he should not score from 17 yards in that situation.
My problem with the whole Hufanga thing is he's slow. He's slow. I think that's why they're trying to move him to linebacker. Like, to me, they're going to have to start Odom. And whatever you want to say about Odom, he's not as good as Tartt. So I think the Niners, at a certain point, if Tartt's still available, they're going to have to call him up like they called up Josh Norman last year. Like, hey, with their tail between their legs, like, hey, man.
At the same time, I understand it, right? Like, I get it. Tartt's 30.
He's 30.
He's getting older. He has a vast injury history. So as much as I like the player, I understand the business of moving off of him. I don't necessarily like the plan of going Jimmy Ward and then Tarvarius Moore, who to me is just a special teams player.
Yeah.
Him and Marcel Harris together, that was a rough safety duo. So I think he's a special teams. He's a terrific special teams player. They did miss him last year, actually, because he hits and he's fast, but I don't know if there's anything he's shown. A lot of people look at it, well, he played well in the Super Bowl. No, he caught a deflected pass in the Super Bowl. He also committed a costly defensive pass interference on Travis Kelce in the end zone. And he played like 20% of the snaps as a dime defender. It's not, you can't say that he played exceptionally well. So I just look at it as, I don't think like it's the best plan, but we have to just see the plan play out. They could be proven right. But I think a lot of people would prefer if they had a name that you could look at and say that's going to be the starter next to Jimmy Ward.
It seems to me like their plan at strong safety is the same as the plan at nickel and the same as the plan at left guard and maybe center and maybe right guard and maybe the plan is throw a bunch of young players into a competition and one player will emerge the winner. Of course, if you have a competition, someone has to win. That doesn't mean it'll be a quality starter. And it seems to me that you essentially have this approach at 6 of 22 spots on the team. 4 offensive line spots.
Well, I mean, technically center, we're not sure yet. Center,
yeah, exactly. We're not sure yet.
We're not sure yet.
2 in the secondary and maybe 2 in the offensive line. I don't know.
Yeah, because I think Daniel Brunskill probably fits in at right guard, and then McGlinchey, we're not sure, but let's give them the benefit of the doubt. But left guard, nickel, and safety for sure, they seem to have this.
Just have like a big competition, and someone will work out.